We mounted two very strong campaigns to get the government to reverse its police cuts, which senior police officers were telling us would hamper the fight against terrorism. The government U-turned on that. That is a good thing. And we also mounted a very strong campaign for George Osborne to reverse the unforgivable proposals to cut tax credits, which ultimately hit working people. Majority of people living in poverty in our country are in work. They were the ones who were going to be hit by this. So the reversal in that measure, again, is a very welcome thing. And that's evidence of two successful Labour campaigns that we did as part of a broad coalition of other groups.
I mean, it was a Labour campaign, it was a Liberal Democrat campaign, it was a Sun campaign, it was a David Davis campaign.
As I said, a coalition of other groups.
When it comes to tax credit. So, I mean, hardly points to Jeremy Corbyn, is it, really, on tax credits?
Well, I don't see it quite in those kind of party political games terms. I think the one thing that I think has been missing from the analysis today is what did this budget, well, comprehensive spending review and autumn statement do for young people. We saw in the last Parliament an assault on the opportunities and aspirations of young people from school to the workplace. Education maintenance allowance being abolished, trebling of tuition fees, the increase in the minimum wage due to come in April 2016 not happening for the under 25s. We've seen a continuation of that with the spending review today, with a real terms 10% cut in funding for 16 to 19-year-olds in sixth form colleges, sixth form and in FE colleges, and also a withdrawal of support for young people renting in the social sector. So you've seen this assault on young people in the last Parliament continuing into this one too.
The other thing we've seen is a increased tax for apprenticeships on business, and generally an increase under this government in recent years of the burden on business away from the public sector towards business. You used to be business secretary. Is that a good idea, to shift that burden off the taxpayer into business?
Well, I don't have any objection in principle to business making a contribution to ensure that we've got a system that is producing young people with the technical and vocational skills, which is the big skills gap that they need. Of course, the devil will be in the detail, and of course, I mean, there are not enough large employers providing the kind of training we want to see, but there needs to be more assistance and help for smaller employers who find the bureaucracy and sometimes the costs involved in this prohibitive. But ultimately, we shouldn't get obsessed about numbers, because it's also about the quality of apprenticeships. I mean, there's so many things that are badged and called an apprenticeship now that 20 years ago we would never have thought of as an apprenticeship. And what business tells me is that a third of these 3 million apprenticeships that we're hearing about, they want those to be at a higher level, and that is simply not happening.
On the police, was that really a reaction to what happened in Paris?
I think, look, before what happened in Paris, I sit on the Home Affairs Select Committee. We'd taken evidence from a number of senior officers, including the most senior in the country, Commissioner Bernard Hogan-Howe of the Met. He was clear what he envisaged being asked to do before the announcement today was going to lead to the loss of around 5,000 officers, particularly neighbourhood police officers. And we know from the counter-terrorism head, Mark Rowley, that they have a vital role in the counter-terrorism effort. So this is why I don't think the Chancellor had any option but to protect the policing budget. And of course, the sense of that was heightened further to the Paris attacks.
Finally, can we talk about the figures a bit? Because, I mean, all this is predicated on improved prospects for the British economy by the OBR, the Office of Budget Responsibility. Do you believe it? I mean, do you believe that the economy is that bit stronger, therefore giving George Osborne that bit more elbow room?
Well, I think in the short term, clearly what the Office for Budget Responsibility have done is given him a get-out-of-jail-free card today. Because they changed their forecast on debt and growth, is given him £26 billion to play with. But the problem that we've got is that there's still underlying structural problems with our economy. And let's not forget, a very healthy economy does not have a base rate.
But do you think they're right on that 26 billion?
Well, they've changed their forecasts before. In fact, they've changed them every single time they produced the forecasts. So that 27 billion may not necessarily be on the table if they change their forecasts when the next budget is due in March. And we've still got a record trade deficit. We've still got the second worst productivity after Japan in the G7. And we've still got big problems in terms of the lack of investment in infrastructure and us not investing enough in R&D and innovation, those new ideas that make us competitive globally. That still is a big outstanding problem, and we haven't seen it fixed today.
Thank you very much.